Hello, David. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So, if you don't have anything specific to work on, I thought we'd start geometry today.
Sure.
Okay? Now, I'm going to start geometry with you different than they're going to start with you when you take your geometry course next year.
All right.
They're going to start with some of the hardest stuff. I'm going to start with the basic stuff that you absolutely have to know when you get ready to take your ACT or your SAT test.
All right.
And I've got the perfect little booklet here that starts out with lines and angles. Okay? Now, I have no idea whether you know the answers to any of these or not, but don't worry if you don't know them, I'll teach you the principle.
All right.
So that first problem there, any idea what x might be?
That should be 50, right?
Very good, because these three angles have to add to 180. So the equation you would have would be x plus 80 plus x equals 180. Solve that algebraically, you get x equal 50.
All right.
But number 2, they want to know the measurement, and just to help you with this terminology here, AOE is, that means angle AOE. So to figure out angle AOE, I start from A, I go to O, I go to E. They're talking about this angle right there.
All right. So, would that be 145 degrees?
Yes. Very good. Number 3.
That'd be 330.
Good. Number 4.
That'd be 90.
Good. You're way ahead of me. I didn't know you knew this much geometry.
Huh.
So you must have had some
Yeah.
along the way. Number 5.
I think... One moment, let me get a piece of scratch paper.
Okay. These always come down to an equation that you can write?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right
The
now.
equation. So I know that x plus 5x instead of y, x plus 5x is equal to what?
6x.
Which is equal to what? How many degrees?
Oh.
What?
180.
Exactly. In other words, that's the key geometric principle you need here. Is that you have a straight line at the bottom, these angles always add up to 180.
Alright, so it should be 150.
Well, it's 6x because you have 1x plus 5x. So 6x equals 180. What does x equal?
30.
Okay. Let's look at number 6. Perpendicular, you know the meaning of perpendicular?
Yeah.
Okay.
X should equal 50 degrees.
Good. Okay, that was the basic geometry lines and angles questions. This is the intermediate. We'll see how you do as to whether we go to advanced. There's beginning, intermediate, and advanced on all of the different subjects. So we may want to just do basic and intermediate for some of these.
All right. So for number 7, would it be only number 1?
Well, number 1 says that line 2 is parallel to line 3, which is definitely true. So number 1 is true. How about number 2, which says that line 1 is perpendicular to line 2? Is that?
Oh, line 1.
So that's true also.
Yeah.
And now number 3, any line that intersects line 1 also intersects line 2.
That's not true.
No, line 3 is a perfect example. In other words, line 3 intersects line 1, but it would never intersect line 2 because they're parallel. So 1 and 2 only, which is this answer here.
All right.
About number 8.
All right. So first, one moment. This. Thinking. Because in order to do this, wouldn't you have to find, I forget what it's called. We've done it before in math.
Well, what do we know? We know that v plus w plus x plus y adds to what?
Y adds to...
All 4 of those angles have to add to what?
180 degrees.
Okay, so I can say this. Now, they want the precise value of y, and I can't answer it from this equation. I got 4 variables. But v is equal to what?
2w.
Okay, so let's write that. 2w instead of v. Well, let's stay in w. What's x equal to in terms of w? In other words, if we can rewrite this equation in 1 variable only, we can solve it for that variable, and then we'll be able to solve for y.
X equals 1/2 of w.
Okay, w over 2. And how about y?
Y equals 1/3 of a half of w, so 1/6.
Very good. So now I have to solve that equation. And that's going to only give me w. I still have to solve for y. So I'm going to have to do more manipulations still, even after I solve for w. What's the first best step to solve this equation?
Probably to eliminate one of the variables.
Well, there's only one variable, w.
Oh.
We've put everything in terms of w, which is good. That means because we have one equation and one variable, we'll be able to solve for w. Once we solve for w, we'll know what x is. Once we know what x is, we'll know what y is. Okay? But there's a really good first step for solving problems like this. What's the best way to solve an equation that has denominators?
Wouldn't it be to multiply the entire thing by the denominator?
Which one?
The smallest fraction.
The biggest denominator.
Yeah.
Because, in other words, my first step is to get rid of all the denominators. Then I don't have to worry about adding and finding common denominators or anything. Well, can't I multiply the left side of the equation and the right side of the equation by 6?
Yeah.
Okay, that gives me 12w there, plus 6w there, plus 3w there, plus 1w, and over here times 6 gives me 1080.
Yeah.
Well, how many total w do we have?
We have 22 W's.
Equals 1080. And let's see, 20.
Then you divide 180 by 22.
Yeah, 1080 by 22. What is that? Do
Sorry.
you have any kind of calculator at all?
Yeah. I got 49.09 repeated.
Okay. So if that's W, what's Y?
So if Y equals 1/6 of W,
Okay.
then we do 49.090909 divided by 6. You get 8.181818181.
Okay. And that is correct. Even though we don't see that answer on there, we have made a mistake somewhere. I'm not sure where, but we don't need to figure it out today.
All right.
I mean, it is a clue that we've made a mistake. The fact that the answer we came up with is not on there means we've made a mistake. Something must be wrong. Well, that's right. That's right. X is W over 2. That's right. Y is 3 times X. Aha! This one's not right. If X is W over 2 and Y is 3 times X, this thing must not be W over 6, but 3 times W over 2.
Okay.
Okay, it's going to give us a different answer. That's good. The beauty of multiple choice is it gives you a chance when you've made a mistake to figure out how to do it properly. Now, we don't have to multiply by 6. We can multiply everything by 2. And we get 4W plus 2W plus W plus 3W equals 360. Well, that's 10W equals 360. W equals 36. X is half of W, so X must be 18. Y is 3 times X, 54 is the answer.
All right.
And that's on there. So this was actually a really good problem to do because it's an excellent example of how you can make a mistake and catch it.
right.
And number 9.
Shouldn't it be... Oh, alright. Oh, sorry. Shouldn't all of them be right?
What's the same angle as A?
Oh, E.
Okay. What's the same angle as B?
F.
And C?
G.
And D?
H.
What do I know about A plus B plus C plus D?
That equals 180 degrees.
Okay, so can we find one that's A plus B plus G plus H?
Yeah, the second one.
No, it's B plus E. But that's okay, because we also know that B plus C plus D plus E is 180. So that's B plus E, and G is the same as C, and H is the same as D. So yeah, 2 for sure adds to 180.
Okay.
Now how about 3? That's A plus B plus D plus C, and we can substitute G for C, so 3 also works.
Okay,
Check
so 2
1.
and 3.
Yeah, let's check 1. A plus B, but E is the same as A. And H is the same as D. So that's not going to work. In other words, E would have to be C. If they said A plus B plus C plus H, that would be correct, but they didn't. So you're right. It's 2 and 3 only.
Alright.
Alright, let's talk about parallel lines for a moment. You're going to find 6 questions on the test that have to do with parallel lines. Let me talk about them real quickly. 2 lines that are parallel and have a transversal. You create 8 angles, but you only create 2 unique angles, A and B. Everything else here is either A or B. That's A, that's B. This is obtuse, therefore it's A. This is acute, that has to be B. This is acute, that's B. This is obtuse, has to be A. So when you take 2 parallel lines, and that's what those things mean, is that they're parallel, and you split it with a traversal, know that you only have 2 angles there, and that they add to 180. They are supplementary. That's what supplementary means, is that 2 angles add to 180. So we know that A plus B is 180. Alright, well here we have 3 parallel lines, but it doesn't change anything. We know that there's only 2 different angles here. There's angle E and there's angle D, and every other angle you see on here is either E or D.
Alright.
So what is the value of A plus B plus C plus D plus E?
So... One moment. So... It should be D plus E plus E plus E plus
So D plus E is 180, right?
I got 3E plus 2D is what happens when you...
So that's what I got so far. Because D plus E we know is 180. So I'm just substituting 180 for that. And what else do we know? Do we know what A plus B is?
A plus B equals 180.
Right, because A is acute, B is obtuse. We know that that has to be 180. So 180 plus C plus 180. So far we're looking at 360 plus C. Do we know what C is?
No. No, we don't.
There's no way to figure it out either. So, this is an answer that you will never see on a test, which is it cannot be determined from the information given.
All right.
Never guess that. You know what I mean by that? If you're taking the test and you get down to the point where you're out of time and you have to guess, don't ever guess that. This is the only question you will ever see where that is the correct answer.
Okay.
Okay? And in fact, we know that it's 360 plus C, and C we can see is obtuse, meaning it's greater than 90, so the answer has to be greater than 450. So really, if they would have just called this X, this would have had to have been the answer. But since we don't know how obtuse C is, we can't come up with a precise number.
All right.
But this is not a practice ACT exam. This is practice geometry, and it matters. When you actually take the exams, that's never the correct answer.
Okay.
Now, let's see how you do on these advanced, as to whether we want to go to the next subject category or whether we want to keep going with the advanced here. You seem to know this stuff pretty good.
Cool.
Let's try the
So,
is 1 true?
so, A plus,
One of the first.
A plus,
Go ahead.
so A plus B equals D plus E has to be it?
Yeah, because one of the first things you learn in geometry is that when you have two straight lines that cross, this angle is equal to that angle, and this angle is equal to this angle. So if you ignore the horizontal line for a moment, we know that angle 1 is equal to angle 2, and putting a horizontal line in there doesn't change anything. A plus B is angle 1, and D plus E is angle 2. Okay? So 1 is true. How about 2?
2 is not true.
Okay? Good. We can certainly see that that's acute, that's acute.
Yeah.
Those are both obtuse. There's no way that can be true. How about 3?
It should be true, yes.
A plus C plus E is the same as A plus B plus C.
Yeah.
And that's the same as B, which is E, D, and F. In other words, both of these are 180 degrees. A plus C plus E is 180, and so is that. So 3 is also true. Okay. Good.
Alright.
try one last one.
All right. So AD equals BE.
And they're both equal to 6.
All right, and CD equals 3 of BC. Wait, does it mean CD?
CD equals 3 times the measurement of BC.
Okay, okay. Does B equal 2?
BC?
BC, sorry.
Well, if BC equals 2, then CD would have to equal 6.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And AE equals, well, AD equals 6. So there's no way CD can be equal to 6.
So that means it has to be 1.
Very good thinking. Very good thinking. Even though you couldn't figure out how to do it, you came up with the right answer, and that's the solution for a lot of this stuff. It doesn't matter if you know exactly how to do it or not. You can tell that 2 is too big, so it has to be 1.
Yeah.
Next time we'll start on 12 and we'll figure out exactly how to come up with that, even if it wasn't multiple choice.
All right.
Okay? All right, David. Have a good week. I will talk to you next week.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.